And we're back. Here I am, Fly Navarro, and I'm here with my dear long lost friend, Scott Kerrigan. Scotty K, how are you today, sir?
Doing good, Fly. Good to see you.
Scotty K, could you give just a brief, it doesn't even have to be brief, you go into detail, description of who you are, what you do, what the name of your company is? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people that may have heard of your company, but not you.
Okay. My company is Aqua Paparazzi, and that is simply a marine photography business that I started many, many years ago. Um, I worked as a deckhand for 20 plus years, traveling the world in a lot of places that you and I traveled together and hung out on the same dock. And photography was always a wonderful hobby at the time. And it has since the last 20 years turned into a full-time obsession job for me. So as I stepped out of the cockpit, I picked up a camera and started traveling the world to the same spots you and I traveled to ourselves for so many years, and still trying to make a living pushing the button, capturing all that great outdoor stuff that we all enjoy.
All the great content.
Yeah,
And we're definitely going to talk about, um, hold on, I got to hit a wrong button, or I did hit a wrong button. One of the things that I want to talk to you about first is how did you start out fishing for a living? Which is very important because before you became the world-renowned photographer, you had to have been a fisherman.
sure. Fishing for me was a natural progression. I grew up, my family living on boats for many years of my childhood. We lived on a houseboat in Nautical Yacht Basin in Dania, Florida. Um, so running around the dock with a life preserver on my back as a 5 or 6 year old was a natural thing for me all day long up until mom would drag me back to the boat to go inside. But so grew up fishing my whole life as a kid, all through high school, living on Las Olas area of Fort Lauderdale, and with a plug rod on one handlebar and a cast net on the other handlebar. I would just a menace to all the canal seawalls and all the backyards I could jump the fence for, just targeting all the new river species I could catch. So when during high school, I was also spent 4 years working at Beach Bait and Tackle, a lovely South Florida institution that's no longer with us. But I got an immersion into the fishing tackle industry, and I would see the traveling guys come in and out and buy their bait from Shorty and buy all their tackle, and I would help Liz Caldwell build all of her custom rods. So I was fully immersed in the fishing industry as a young lad. And then as soon as I got out of high school, I realized that people would actually pay you to go travel and fish at the same time, and that was just I could not believe my good luck. I That was just unheard of, and so I immediately jumped on a charter boat and started charter fishing, and then starting traveling as soon as I could, right out of high school, and spent 24 years mostly away from home, traveling the world chasing billfish primarily, and then. Um, as I mentioned, photography was always an avid hobby of mine while traveling. And then I had an accident one day at work. Got a line wrapped around my hand on one day, and that was the kick in the pants I needed to stop working for someone else and pursue my photography hobby and turn it into a profession that I've never looked back now. It's been another 20 years now.
It's so funny because I was going to bring up your action.
It's part of the game, yeah.
Yeah, it is. But I want to rewind a little bit in your story first. I would like, because a lot of the younger guys that are watching, or even people that have never been in our industry aren't familiar with Shorty Washington.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I mean, the fact that you just threw his name out there, that's
Yeah.
huge. That's huge, man. I haven't heard that name in forever.
He was a South Florida legend in my world at the time. I'm sure it was a small slice of the sport fishing industry, but back in the day, many people would come to him for tackle, and primarily, I think he was known for his split-tailed mullet. or bait preparation in general. So he and Beach Bait and Tackle with the owner John Day, I believe it was. They would process metric tons of bait every year, providing it to all the local crews. And as you know, a fair amount of the international traveling boats are based out of South Florida. So he was a regular fixture on the circuit for everybody to. And if you were hanging out at the tackle shop, it was kind of like a way station where you spend a few mornings there. Everybody would come in and have a cup of coffee with
with Shorty.
Shorty. So yeah, it was a thing to do. It was like the donut shop, and but yeah, it was a great experience.
There, it's so funny because there's so many different towns out there that have a beach bait and tackle that they go to. Like I was in Alabama, Lower Alabama, Orange Beach, going to J&M Tackle. You go
Oh
into J&M
yes,
Tackle at 6 o'clock, everybody's hanging out.
wow. I
And
remember them as in a catalog. I
they
never been
were
to there, but
they were huge in the catalog industry. Huge.
yes, yes. I approached them and I think I licensed a few images for them to use in their catalog advertising and tackle business and stuff, but I never had the pleasure of going up there and hanging out and seeing the scene.
Oh, it's a special place. I've been very well. Listen, you've been just as fortunate. I mean, it's like going to Stewart's place there at Neptune,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah,
Or
it is neat to see any geographical location that we've traveled. There is a hub or a central spot or a hangout spot that just shows up, and the cool people or the fishermen people in your industry tend to gravitate there and they get their news there, they get their gossip there. In addition to getting tackle, it's as much a social thing as it is a commerce thing.
it truly is. I
Yeah.
mean, hang out, catch everybody right before they go out fishing or after they come in fishing after 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
It's like Matthias's old little stand-up corner there at the front of A dock.
Yeah, if you ever have a question about what's Jim on the boat next to you doing, just always swing by the tackle shop. They'll know what is up.
Just
Yeah.
go. I had like an 800 number to the tackle shop. I was always calling Stuart from offshore. What do you need? What do you need now, Fly? How many dozen of whatever you need?
Right. What a
Uh,
service he offered, though. Any time of
oh,
day, whatever, however odd of his request it was, he would find it.
it was crazy. He was the first person I ever met in St. Thomas. Stuart,
Really?
first
Like
person.
off the airplane, and there he was, or off the
Well,
dock, and
here was the thing. My first time in St. Thomas, I was working for Eddie Wettengale. So I
oh,
was over in Tortola or
oh.
Camino.
And Stewart was hugely helpful in keeping Eddie's operation primed and running, and yeah,
Constantly. So when we
yeah.
came to St. Thomas for whatever it was we came for, who was the first person on the dock? Was
Hmm.
Stuart
Helping you tie up. Here we go.
helping us tie up, and it was off season. It was in January. Was it January? Yeah, it was January because we were getting ready to go to Panama.
That's right. Eddie was a full-time resident, so you could have been there 12 months a year and all kinds of timing. Yeah.
Ooh, man, there was
Wow.
all kinds of stuff we did.
Oh.
There was all kinds of stuff we did. We did housework, painting. I painted that roof. I painted his roof at least 8 times.
Oh, wow.
I remember, and I don't want to say this was a mistake, but when I flew in for the interview, it was Cujo that told me, "Hey, Eddie's looking for a mate to go to Panama." And I'm like, "Okay." And I go, "Who's Eddie?" I didn't know. I was a kid. I was like 22 years old.
Sure.
And they called me up, or I called them up. I spoke with Mikey Deegan and spoke to Eddie, and he said, "How quick can you get down here?" And me being the wise ass that I've always been, I go, "I can fly down today if you want me to, but
Oh,
I'm gonna have to come back." And they're like, "Well, what do you mean you got to come back?" I go, "Well, if I'm gonna be gone for 3 months,
yeah.
I'm gonna
Got some
need
loose ends.
I got some loose ends to take care of. But if you give me 3 or 4 days, and then I'm good." And I
Hmm.
guess Eddie took under the consideration, hey, we may want to check this kid out first before we agree to the job.
Sure.
So why wait 3 or 4 days? Mikey Deegan hung up the phone. He says, Give me a few minutes," calls me back, and he goes, "Okay, you have a whatever 3 o'clock flight on Pan Am Airlines."
Talk
And
about jumping into the fire.
so off I went.
Yeah.
I jumped on the plane and flew down there. I was there for 10 days and we had
And
dinner.
was he a Hatteras owner at that point, or had he
No,
bought a
he had the
Monterey?
Monterey.
The Monterey.
He
Okay.
had
Wow.
just gotten the Monterey.
Wow.
I think that was year one on the Monterey.
What a great operation that was. And made,
Oh
I'm
my
sure,
God.
made for amazing stories. I never got to see the island part of it, but he was always um, well known on the St. Thomas end of it. And what an interesting guy.
Yeah, he really was a staple of the North Drop.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was
When he,
unbelievable.
I guess, as a very successful businessman, he was focused and he had the resources to do whatever he wanted. And he got mad at Blue Marlin and he poured his time and energy and resources into that quest. And boy, it was fun to be around. And it just always had a nice attitude and hired great people and was always a joy to spend some time with.
He was phenomenal. He was tough to work for.
Yeah.
He was tough to work for. He was demanding. But I enjoyed Eddie. I really enjoyed Connie, his wife. She was a saint.
Uh,
She was a saint. She was so nice. She was like the mama bear for the crew.
Right? And
It
then,
was,
yeah, any good operation needs someone like that. When
yeah,
hard ass Eddie's yelling at you, it's always nice to get some comforting words
yeah.
from the mama.
Mama just kind of protects you. But
Yeah.
I remember Eddie, one of his first questions, he goes, "Do you know how to put shingles on a roof?" I'm like, what the fuck does shingles on a roof have to do with a 58 Monterey?
Yeah. Can you make us mackerel swim? Who cares? I want your
Yeah.
roofing skills.
So, but again, he has a house over there, so you never know when you're dealing with hurricanes and stuff.
Yeah.
So his thing, so again, I'm a wise ass, but I'm also very honest. I'm not going to lie to you. Yeah, of course I do. I go, no, sir, I don't. But if you show me how to do 6 or 7 of them,
Uh-huh.
I could figure it out. He
Right.
goes, good answer. Good answer. So yeah, he was a special person. To this
I
day,
remember I remember one evening for whatever reason, I guess when you are living on an adjacent island to St. Thomas, somewhat remote, you come to the main island for supplies quite often. But I remember one evening, I'm not sure if you were there or not, but we all, Eddie and his wife took us out to dinner with Mikey Deegan and about 5 or 6 of us, and we went to a nearby restaurant in the Red Hook area. I forgot the name of the place now, but they had just picked up their lovely favorite dog from the vet's office that afternoon or that evening, and the dog passed away during dinner in
oh,
the carry shoulder bag. Apparently the dog was ill, and that's why it was at the vet, but the recovery didn't go so well. But I just remember dinner being cut short as we rose from the table, and I just remember feeling so too bad for Connie and every Eddie, and it was just one of those sad memories, unfortunately.
yeah. I remember the one dog they had, it was Rocky. He was just a little uh
Yeah,
I don't know if it was Rocky or not.
yeah, I think it was actually. Now that you say that,
Yeah.
but
That
he
dog that dog went everywhere with Eddie.
yes, exactly.
He
And
acted like such a tough guy, but he loved that little dog, man.
like any big tough guy, there's usually a 3 pound Yorkie in the background or something that they cherish more than anything.
That's the
Um,
funniest thing in the world.
am I also remembering Connie? His wife is Connie, right?
Correct.
Uh, Connie and I shared another tragedy thing, but didn't she lose a
Three of
digit?
them. Three of them.
3 of them. Okay.
She
Yeah.
lost 3 digits, three
Yeah.
appendages. She was
Yeah.
tying up the not the Boston Whaler, the Mako, and something happened as she was putting the loop on the piling. Her three
Yeah.
fingers got caught,
Yeah.
and it crushed them.
Yeah.
So they put her on the Monterey. Ooh, was it the Monterey or the Jim Smith at that time? I can't remember. It was I was already on the reel tight, and I heard that they were coming over. So I did
Hmm.
not see them when they got there. I saw her when she came back from the hospital,
Hmm.
and it was just easier to remove the three fingers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That I'm I'm reminded, and everybody in the marine industry, that one of the most dangerous things you do on any given day is tie a rope around a cleat. Tie up a vessel, in addition to stepping on and off, is another good one. But yeah,
Yeah.
digits and cleats and ropes don't mix well.
Fishing lines don't either.
Yeah, that's I can attest to that. Yeah.
That's listen, being that we're on the topic, do you want to and correct me if I'm wrong. Jim flew you home, didn't he?
I did. Yes, I'll
Okay.
give you the brief story. Here we
Yeah.
go. I was on the deckhand on the Revenge. It was my seventh or eighth year working with Mike Lemon and owner Sam Jennings. And we would often, the three of us were a fixture for 7 or 8 years, and we would bring in a second mate for the summer season. We'd often try to hire from someone who lived on the island so they had a place to stay, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, it was Glenn Helton that summer working with me in the deckhand, and I was still an avid hobbyist photographer, so I would let most of the time the second man would get to wire the fish, unless it was raining or a special event or something was up. But so mates loved to come on the Revenge boat because they got to wire a lot of blue marlin. But uh, it was late in the season, September 15th, I think it was. So most of the boats had gone home. The moon was coming up, so we had the North Drop to ourselves, just three or four boats, and one of those beautiful glassy days with a gentle this time of year when the swell starts showing up a little bit. So a nice ground swell offshore, and 9:30 in the morning, we're already hooked up to our third fish. We'd already released two. It's 9:30 and we got number three on. It's going to be one of those banner days. It's calm and they're biting and we got the place to ourselves. And um, so let's see. Glenn gets a handful of a nice little 300-pound fish. We've scaled down our leaders and tackled it to reflect the smaller animals that are usually more prominent that time of year. So we're fishing, I think, some 300 mono leaders on a mackerel or ballyhoo, pitch rod, depending on how big the fish looks. But this was on a chunk of 300. Fishing with a snap swivel and 30 and 29 feet a leader as compared to a wind on. That plays into the story. So we get the fish up to the boat. Glenn grabs the leader. We get the technical release. The beautiful morning light at 9:30 in the morning, and um, Glenn gets a couple handfuls of leader. The line's piling up on the deck behind him, and I'm safety guy steering the chair with my camera up on the bulkhead, up on the mezzanine, or not a mezzanine at the time, but up on the cooler. Um, and for whatever reason, Sam left the swivel about a foot from the rod tip. So a couple handfuls of leader, and Mike yells down rod tip. And sure enough, I look up from behind Sam's shoulder, steering the chair, and there's a tip wrap. So I got it. It happens a lot, all the time. That's your job as a chair steerer to brush tip wraps off. So I run over, brush the tip wrap off, and this look over my shoulder, and this beautiful 300-pounder skyrocketing in the morning golden sun. And the photographer in me wants to get a picture of that the quickest possible. So I spin around and head back for the bulkhead to get my camera, but I failed to notice the coils of line on the deck. Simultaneously, Glenn is letting it slip through. The fish is jumping away. So Glenn's kind of not quite dumping it completely, but letting it slip through his leather gloves. And I failed to notice the coil of line go around my hand and started tugging me towards the covering board. And I was able to get my thumb under it to get most of the coils off. I thought I was going to be free, but the last coil cinched up on my middle finger and took the tip of it away. Just a quick blunt trauma. Popped it off like a grape, and it flew about 20 feet. We're roaring backwards, 2,000 horsepower, making it happen, trying to catch this fish. And of course, I wanted to get my fingertip back. It's really traumatic seeing part of your body leave the building. So I get the bait net, of course, and as we get back there, just about to scoop up my fingertip, and a triggerfish goes.
Come on.
Okay, that didn't happen, but but the rest of it is true. I just tucked the stump I tucked the bloody stump and we continued to tag the fish, and um, and then quickly made the determination that it was time to run in, take me back in. So they took me back to the hospital and went back out fishing. Um, they only caught two more that afternoon, if I remember right. So it wasn't the banner day that we were hoping the start was going to be. But
Was that '02?
say again?
Was that '02, 2002?
It was 01, when was 9/11?
'01? Okay.
September. Oh, yeah, it was 2 weeks before that because I remember while I was rehabbing.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
so that was a long time ago. But anyway, and the good, bad, or ugly, it was the last day I worked as a deckhand. That was the while laying in the hospital gurney. Um, I thought, you know what, I can always go back to fishing. Let me see if I can make a living with a camera. It's less likely to get my hand pulled off. So uh, that's I never looked back. That was a long time ago, and I had already been well immersed in the editorial world, having sh primarily my customers during the previous 15 years of shooting um, moonlighting was the Marlin Magazine, Sport Fishing Magazine, Saltwater Sportsman, all the marine magazines, because I could shoot. I provided a window into a world, the sport of kings, as I often call it, because it was a place that unless you were chartering $1 million sport fishing boat or owning one or a crew, you didn't get to see that world very much. So the magazines were hungry for any insight window into that world, and I provided a needed resource to the magazines. And Marlin Magazine, boy, they ate up every picture I could send them because it just provided a glimpse into something that most people are very curious about, as you know, in your travels.
Yeah.
People love to see what this world is all about.
Especially back then because it's not like people had camera phones.
Right. And we didn't have the internet, social media. It was just what you heard at the tackle shop, go talk to Shorty and stuff. So, uh, it,
Exactly.
I was providing a much needed material into the vision into the world of big game sport fishing that, it was a pretty cool thing to do.
There was only two guys. There were you and Richard Gibson.
Yeah, and Doc was there well before I was. He was my highlight, my hero when I started the business, and the guy I looked to for how to do it and how to do it right, and he was usually on the dock most of the places I went, so I was able to ask him questions, and he helped me best he could, and yeah, it was very few of us back then. When a magazine needed a billfish action photo or something like that back in those days, there was like five people on planet Earth that had access to that or had a collection of it. So it was a very niche field, extremely small field, but it provided me with a great enthusiasm and a little bit of camera drinking money on the side. So it was a good fun thing to do.
I remember especially early on when I was still with Billy Bohr on the topless, it's like, oh,
Mm.
here comes the revenge. Be standing at attention. You don't know when something cool's gonna happen, and
Right?
and Scotty's gonna take a picture.
Yeah, we did for many years there. We didn't pass rigger to rigger on any vessel without me having a camera at my side or in my hand, just in case that expression, that blink of an eye, that moment, that rigger pull, the big splash, or some other silly antics. But yeah,
Yeah,
um,
it's.
I'm glad I had that effect on passerbys that they
I
were
I think
ready
Scott
for it.
like. I think Scott liked it because that made sure that we were standing up.
Yeah. Hey, wake up! The camera's going by.
The cameras go, wait, quick, quick. Actually, I have a picture that you took. It's a sequence. It's Randy Yates on the wire and me with a tag stick. And then
Yes.
later on, it's us putting the spread back out. And
Okay.
I keep it readily available in my favorites on my phone.
Oh, good. That was the express boat topless?
No, it was the game fisherman.
The game fisherman. Okay.
Yeah, we had that blue hull game fisherman.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Oh my gosh, I talked to Robbie a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about Billy, and I'll
Uh,
never forget we were painting the boat in Tortola, and Billy had to go home. And Billy's like, "Fly, you got this. Just when it's done, bring it back. I was so excited. Name's going on. We get to put the boat back in the water. And I turn the corner around and I look and they spelt the name on the transom wrong. It was
No.
wrong.
Oh
And
my
I'm
God.
like, how could you spell it wrong? Well, here's the thing. Topless was spelled with three S's.
I was going to say there was something unique about
It
his
was,
signature. Yeah.
yeah, it was topless with three S's because
So
it
they got
was
it correct, but incorrect.
incorrect, correct.
Yeah.
I came around
Wow.
the corner and I'm like, oh my God, there's only two. Thank God I saw it.
Yeah.
Thank God I saw.
Better.
Could you imagine if I would have gotten the boat back to St. Thomas?
After the clear coat's dry and everything. Yeah.
Like we got the
Wow.
name wrong. What do you mean we got the name
Wow.
wrong? So we went back through the paperwork and it's like it was spelled correctly with three S's, but they thought we made a mistake, so they erased it off. They
Oh, geez.
scratched it out.
Right. Oh, too many corrections. Oh, wow.
So whatever, it happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was that little game fisherman because we bought it and it was a white game fisherman. And then we picked it up, took it down to St. Thomas and got it
The
painted, the whole 9 yards.
not that I'm a graphic designer, but the something in me tells me, did they add the S to the end or have to shift everything over to accommodate? Oh, wow. Okay.
You had to take 100%. You are correct. You can't add it because now it's not
Yeah, the
equal.
symmetry would mess with my head. That's my
Yeah,
first thought. Yeah.
it's cockeyed. It's so funny. Most of the time, shit like that doesn't bother me. We just painted the house, the interior, and when the TV got put back, it was off.
Oh,
Like
inches.
by 3 degrees, it was off. Just
Hmm.
and my girlfriend Naomi goes, the TV's off. I go, I know, but if you leave it within 2 days, it'll be normal again.
Right?
She goes, I can't do it. I
I
can't
can't
do it.
leave it. I can't. Oh, yeah,
So,
that's some people a bit bothered by that little subtle things like that.
100%. And listen, I get it. I totally understand it. Um, but I couldn't let Scott would have killed me. Billy really would have killed me.
Yeah, he left it in your hands, your capable hands, Fly.
And I messed it up.
I
And I messed it up. Go figure.
I
Uh,
was on a similar note. I was watching some fishing shows. Imagine that last week at someone's house, and I even got my phone out and used the Level app because I thought, oh, I'm going to correct this guy's living room TV. It's off a few degrees. But I checked, and his TV was spot on. I realized
no.
we were in a converted screened-in patio with a slightly slanted roof, so the visuals was throwing off my
Your inner
perception.
sanctum.
Yeah, I was being a little too crazy with it, but
Sometimes it's best just to leave it alone.
yeah, as someone who's been concerned with horizon lines for 40 years, in my imagery, things like straight lines bother me,
I
or don't bother me.
I never thought of that.
Yeah, when my day in and day out, everything I look at, I'm concerned with horizon lines, whether they're crooked or straight, but it's something I look at. So,
I gotta ask you about that, but I really want to get back to when you first started on your first boat, um, charter fishing. Was it out of Fort Lauderdale or
yes,
okay?
it was out of Bahia Mar, the lovely A dock of Bahia Mar, right on the A1A Boulevard. The Bahia Mar fleet that is no longer there, sadly. They've commercialized that whole part of the marina. But yeah, it was on one of the little 42-foot charter boats, Phantom, I think it was, with oh, I can't remember the captain's name, Scott. Anyway, yeah, one of the local charter boats, and that lasted about 6 months. And then I got my very first private job opportunity to go work on a fully customized 53 Hatteras called the White Elephant. Was a local Fort Lauderdale boat tied up down the road.
You were on the White Elephant? I didn't know
I worked
that.
on for Captain Joe Konachik on the White Elephant, and my very first job was Okay, kid, get ready. We're going over to fish the Cat Key Cat Key Bluefin Tuna tournament. And I was like, I'm a 20-year-old, a 19-year-old. I'm ready to roll, but I'm happy to say, luckily, we didn't catch one because that probably would have killed me very early in my career. Um, but we did go over to fish the Cat Key tournament, and we were the only plastic boat there in the fleet of probably 32 boats. That at that time, the tournament was still going on strong. Tuna were still being pouring up the edge there, and it was all Merritts and Ribos and Graves and Whitakers and all the finest of the finest custom fleet would show up at Cat Key and fish that event. And somehow Joe had connections, and he's an old timer at that time, and he'd been fishing it for years. But somehow he got permission to bring that lovely plastic Hatteras boat in the fleet there. And we saw fish. It was eye-opening to see everybody describes like a Volkswagen swimming underwater. And I got to see the schools of giant bluefin come up off the purple Gulf Stream and jump onto the white sand bottom and throw the swimming mullet on the piano wire that you'd have to check or change daily because it would tarnish or rust overnight in the salted bait box. And one little nick on, I forget the 007 wire or whatever the number was, could possibly break it off. But I just remember never getting a tuna bite, but we baited several big schools of tuna, but the barracudas got there first, which was such a common thing. You have to
Oh,
throw your bait back to the red mark. Well, the line was pre-marked, and Joe from the tower would tell you, go to the red mark, go to the blue mark, go to the black, depending on the distance and the presentation routine. But I don't know, maybe a half dozen times we threw to the tunas, and the barracudas ate us up, and would cut the swimming mullet right at the gills, and you were dead in the water at that point.
so you were supporting Shorty the entire time.
Yes, we were throwing them split-tailed mullet, and I would have, having had no wiring experience other than some sailfish here, in the charter boat dock. I probably best that we did not catch one because I probably would have killed myself or something. But it was a neat experience and introduction to the custom boat world and that whole routine, and then fine marinas and meticulous maintenance and incredible craftsmanship. So it started me on a quest for perfection everywhere I go now. So, but it was a neat experience.
When did you go from the charter boats and go to work with Brad on the Key Venture?
Ah, not too.
I had to bring that up because that was a very unique. First of all, he's
Yes.
one of the greatest.
Yeah,
Uh,
I love my time back in that time spent working with Brad. That was a great experience for me. Let's see. So after the tuna fishing tournament and probably a year or two on the White Elephant, um, another opportunity to go to Cozumel on a Chris Craft, I believe at the time actually, um, as a third mate. And I'd never been to Mexico or the Yucatan, but that started, I'm sorry, I'd been there as a child with family vacation, but that's another story. But so my first job was going to Cozumel because back then Isla was not on the map for 99% of the people. It was a sailboating stop and local boats, but I don't even think the Texans had, or the Texans had just started fishing it there very quietly, just a couple of boats. But we went to Cozumel and that job on the Chris Craft, when we arrived in Cozumel, the captain and the first mate, who I was a friend with, they were at loggerheads or fighting all the time. Anyway, so about 2 weeks into my Cozumel experience, the captain fired us both just to get a clean slate. So you're out of here. So, but in that 2 weeks of standing on the dock in Cozumel, getting things ready, um, we were tied up next to a 57 Billy Holton named the Kiwi. And Brad was the deckhand on that boat with Dietmar Kosman as the captain. So
oh,
I befriended Brad and his wife Rhonda as dock mates for a couple of weeks. And then I was on the beach. Um, I think I spent a few days in a hotel in Cozumel, and then Bob Walters on another glamorous 53 Hatteras. Imagine that. He was looking for a mate. He was like a one man show. He did very little fishing, but Anyway, he needed a mate, so I only spent a week or 5 days unemployed in Cozumel. And just before I ran out of pesos, I got a job on the Sea Dragon, and that started a wonderful relationship with Bob Walters. That season with him there. Took the boat back to Port Aransas. Spent a few months in PA. Then went home. The next year, flew back to PA to bring the boat from Galveston to Cozumel. Did another season with him there, and again, Brad was boat mates there. Um, And then after that second season on the Sea Dragon in Cozumel, Brad called me and said, "Hey, I'm moving up the ladder. Dietmar's no longer the captain. I'm moving up the ladder and inviting me to work the cockpit with him." So I did about 6 or 7 years with Brad on that custom Carolina boat. Back then it was really cool. A, because I appreciated custom boats with my Cat Key vision experience, but B, there were very few Carolina custom boats in the fleet back then. It was primarily 54 Bertrams and Hatteras and Vikings, I guess, but there were not the proliferation of custom boats that you see now. So it was to be on a 57 Holton in a marina full of boats in Mexico or anywhere in the Keys. He was based out of Islamorada. It was a cool experience to appreciate the ride of a good Carolina boat and the craftsmanship and all that stuff. Very simple boat, but so then I started working for Brad, and I never did quite full time, 12 months a year because I'm always coming back to Fort Lauderdale for as many months a year as I can. But I did Cozumel with Brad for a season, and then the next year we did a half a season in Cozumel, and one of his clients was a fisherman slash sailboater, and he said, "Hey, Brad, what do you think about running the boat, the Kiwi, running it up to Isla? I've got a sailboat race in 2 weeks that terminates in Isla, and I want to win all my I think it was the Houston Sailing Club or something." Um, so he said, "Let's go up there and we can check the current and get an idea of the bank and how to approach the final tack or something, some sailboating wisdom that they were after." So we went up there and discovered, wow, there's already 5 Texan boats sitting up here. The Pell Star, um, oh, I can't remember some of the cool names of some of the great Texas fishermen. And so we went up there, and sure enough, boy, they were. This was in January. No, I'm sorry, this was the springtime. So we went up there and caught a bunch of fish and realized this is the place to be. We made friends with Anthony, and no, Anthony was still a deckhand on the Sharia boat then, but we made friends up there and realized we could come back there next year. And so we started basing our trips out of Isla instead of Cozumel. And it was a whole different, yet the same fishery. Obviously, it's the same sailfish, 30 pound sailfish for the most part. But it's unlike Cozumel with deep water, blue water, current, and reef fishing. There, it's a shallow bank. The Isla Bank goes on for 20, 30 miles, and it's acres of sardines and frigate birds and a whole different approach. But we would go up there in the springtime. That was even before the December, January, February fishery was kind of had evolved. So I did about 4 seasons in the Yucatan with Brad, um, and then I did another one, and then we stepped off the boat, and I think Brad stepped off that boat also, and then I worked with him again when he had a Hatteras boat from Tex Schramm. We did some St. Thomas fishing back then. Um, and anyway, Brad and I have been good friends ever since, 40 years now. Um, but yeah, what a great experience because he taught me so much. As a kid from Fort Lauderdale, you always think you learn a lot. I can fish this, but you don't know squat. Compared to the Island, in my experience, the Islamorada or Keys fishermen are some of like the Carolina fishermen I've learned, are some of the best fishermen on the planet as far as adaptation, skill set. Fishing out of Islamorada with Brad when I would fly down or drive down ahead of the season before we go to Mexico and stuff. On any given charter, you'd use 20 to 25 rods on a given day. It was bait fishing in the morning. It was casting jigs and for an hour. It was chunk fishing for another hour. It was live bait ballyhoo trolling. It was then pop up the kite. The tackle and the techniques and the vast array of skills and knowledge needed was amazing.
and
So,
and changing all day long.
changing, yes, all day long. Get those rods out, put them in the racket, 4 more new ones out, and get those rigged and ready to go. and keep the kite up and keep the bait and cast to the swimmers. And anyway, just, super credits to the Isla Morada, the Keys fishermen. They are taught me a little bit, not much, but I tried to learn what I could. But an amazing fishery, and Brad was a huge part of that, my development in that. And
Yeah,
then we did Grand Cayman at the time was doing the $1 million month. And it'd go to Grand Cayman. If you could beat was it the island, not the island record, the world record, I guess. Someone, Lloyd's of London or something, put up $1 million if you could do that. So that was just it was as we learned, a tourism board thing to do because this is the slowest months of our calendar. Let's make a tournament out of it. So for a 30-day tournament, 30-day window, if you registered and caught their biggest fish, you could win $1 million. We never did. We caught the island record at the time, which was on, well, ladies 30-pound island record was 200, less than 200 pounds. We caught one 201. Brad's wife Rhonda caught that, and I don't know if that still holds or not, but we had a good time. We fished two months in Grand Cayman on consecutive years. And that was a fun experience. It's close to home, but still very exotic, having never been to Grand Cayman. But yeah, my time with Brad was really fun.
how many seasons did you fish with him in St. Thomas? Just the one or a couple?
A couple, because we did on the blank check. I fished with him on another 53 Hatteras. You see the pattern here.
Oh,
I
you
grew up
like
on 53
53
Hatteras.
Hatterases.
I had a thing for them apparently, and not by choice, because I think if you drop the boat out of a helicopter, it would go faster than it did at full to the pins. I mean, these were mostly 12N powered Hatterases, so 12 cylinder naturals.
Oh
You
my
know, a,
gosh.
a 14 knot cruise was, oh my God, tie everything down. Here we go.
12
Um,
knots.
yeah, just stupid slow.
Ugh.
What did Frankie Branch tell me one time in a different story? But he's telling a story of how rough it used to be in St. Thomas when he was working there. He said it was so rough we would chug to the fishing grounds and have to speed up to put the lures out, which tells you, you lure speed at 7 or 8 knots. He was chugging out to the ground at 6 knots. It was so rough to go make that 15-mile run. But um, anyway, yeah. So after a couple seasons with blank check, and that was the early blank check. We all know of them now. They've gone on for generationally to have a blank check boat or two or three in various oceans around the world. Um, so to become quite the industry fixture as we know it. But that was I believe, one of their first blue water boats. They may have had other boats as a family, but they had a partner at the time. So Dan Senior and his partner split the blank check. So I worked with Brown on that boat for a season or two, and then Tex Schramm's boat for a season, and then switched over to Mike Lemon on the Revenge boat.
What year did you start fishing with Mike?
94
Okay. Just a couple
was
years before, just a couple years
yeah.
before. I got down there, I think in 96.
Okay. Yes, Sam Jennings was a charter client of Brad, and Sam would come fish us in Isla, and maybe that was the only place we fished Sam, but Sam fished Isla with me a couple times with Brad and I, and then when he bought the Revenge boat from a broker, the boat had never been privately owned. It was kind of like the Sadowski demo boat for Revenge yachts. Um, and it was already 2 or 3 years old at that point. So it was strange for a brand new state-of-the-art custom boat to kind of just bob around between brokerages and never really sell or never have the love of a private owner putting into it. But when
But it
Sam
was
bought it,
it was a unique boat. It was a first of its kind. I mean, they only built three of them, but it was
yeah,
carbon fiber. It was
extremely unique.
very light.
They extremely light, and the properties that carbon fiber bring to it. It was like a big skiff at 58 feet. We were on the medium one. They had a 55, a 58, and a 62, I think. Um, but yeah, what a very interesting boat. A go fast boat by all standards, and one of the tallest towers that pipe welder ever built. I think next to next to the
The snow goose.
Snow Goose was another one. Yes. And then Danny Bear ran a boat even before I started. I can't remember the name of it now, but another nosebleed tower. But with all that speed and light weight came brutal pressure on the tower legs that we would constantly be tack welding. And I say we, they were keeping it together. Um, but yeah, that was the Revenge was a neat boat. Just a fun. I did 7 or 8 years on that boat, and fish number 720 was the one that got wrapped around my hand, fishing with Sam and Mike. Blue Marlin 720 was that fish. Um,
Wow.
which is it was a lot in the day. It's not so much now, but the Costa Rican fad fishermen go out and do that in a season or two. So it took us 7 summers to do that.
It
But
has changed.
yeah,
It, it used to be, I mean, for me, my goal every year was catch 100.
yeah, that was the triple digit was the magic number. Yeah,
And now some of these guys are doing it in a month.
right. A couple good
Even
trips to the fads and you're in. You're over.
even the DR,
Oh sure. Yep.
you
Yeah,
know,
the expectations and the goals of a crew member have definitely moved around since we were doing it.
oh my God. I mean, you look at it now. Well, I remember back in the day, and I believe you, yeah, you were on the boat because I've seen the pictures. Uh, wow, you guys caught 10 in a day. That was
Yeah,
that was a
yeah,
big deal.
sure. I chased that record for my whole career trying in St. Thomas, having spent 12 summers as a deckhand in St. Thomas, and then another 8 as a photographer flying down for a couple of moons. But yeah, those 12 summers in St. Thomas, the magic number that someone caught was it Jackie Morrow caught it, I think. The rumor was he caught 9, I think. So 10 was the magic number to.
I can't remember if it was Jackie or if it was Killer on the Lethal Weapon or Albert Johnson. There was
Ew, yeah.
it, listen,
That's the era.
I'm throwing some fucking names around now.
Yeah, you are. But yeah, that catching 9 we did twice, I think. And but catching that number 10 was that was always the goal. Um, it was fun though. That was a neat, but that's kind of a low number nowadays in some of the fisheries. Do that by lunch and
It's
call it
like,
an
oh
average
wow,
day.
it's gonna be a good like it's so funny because at the beginning when you mentioned we had three by 9 o'clock, it was like,
Hmm.
oh, we might have a good day.
Yes,
Uh,
that was
now
all
it's
based on that number. Yeah,
yeah, once you get that hat trick, especially before lunch,
yeah,
it was like, oh, this could be a real magical day.
sure. And if you had to stay sunset and beyond or sunset to do it, that's the kind of place where it's only a
It's
15-mile run home, so not bad at all.
oh, I remember it was and the reason why I asked you about 2002 was that one year when I was on the reel tight that whatever number you had for the day going in, you knew if you were in the saddle at 6 o'clock,
Right?
you're gonna get a bite.
Yes.
And
You can
if you
always add one more.
you can always add one more, and if you caught it fast enough or if you blew it, you knew you'd get another bite.
Yeah,
It was
there's the
like,
chance. Yep.
yeah, it was one of those, man, it's like a 10-minute bite. Some days are 15. So if you can get a quick one
Right.
where
Don't
maybe,
waste 12 minutes biting him.
yeah, if he makes a quick mistake and you can catch him,
Yeah.
you might get another one.
Yeah, you're right. I can remember the last half of the afternoon was just getting things ready for that evening flurry that you hope to be part of. Don't mess it up. And if you do catch one, get them fast and get the baits back out. Try to try to
Yeah.
try to turn it into a multiple.
You're sitting there trying to revive that one or getting ready to put a tag out. And we were lucky. We had three deckhands. So it's like, hey, let's get the other side of the spread out.
Yes, while you're fussing with the fish in one corner, you can be slipping out the long bait on the other side and already
Exactly.
having a teaser out. Yeah.
You can already get it into position
Yeah.
just in case. Listen, a half a spread is still fishing, man.
Sure. Yeah, some of the best days I remember with Tex Schramm. He was a type of fisherman who didn't want to jump in the chair with a long rigger bite. So we simply pulled the long riggers in. and we didn't fish. We just fished two teasers and two flatlines, and four teasers because even the flatlines were pitch bait teasers. So he was like, let's just fish no hooks in the water, reduce our number of offerings, but when you have less to clear and less to put out, everything can move even more efficiently. Um, so we had good time with that. He just liked to stand up fish and on 30 and 50. So
Did you ever get a chance to talk to him about wanting to catch a blue marlin from the beach in San Salvador?
no, I don't remember that story. Was that one of
Man,
his quests?
that was one of his now, mind you, I never got the opportunity to meet him. But that was always one of the those stories like who was it that caught the nine and all these other little stories. But one of the things that because of the drop off being so close in San Sal, it was one of those things that he always wanted to catch a blue marlin from the rocks in San
Wow.
Sal. And I was just curious if you ever had
Huh.
the opportunity to talk to him about it.
No, I never have. But on a similar note, in my social media random watching surfing recently, saw pictures of someone catching, I think, yellowfin tuna off some rock pile. And I don't even remember what country it was in, but I stopped and thought that is cool. To catch a pelagic off terra firma was a pretty neat thing. So like the similar fascination with a blue marlin off the Sansel Beach would be a cool thing.
It's funny you say that. When I moved back from Hawaii, after I got off the Real Tide, I went out to Hawaii to run that boat for a couple of years. When I came back, I had a couple of boat brokers come up to me. Hey, man, why don't you get your license? You know a lot of people, this and that. And I'm like, man, I really, truly am honored and I appreciate the offer, but I'm not a boat guy. If I'm a
Mm.
fisherman, if I could catch a blue marlin off the rocks, I would.
We don't need a boat. Yeah, if you
I
could
don't.
find a way
I
to do it without boating.
I would do it. I mean, to me, a boat is a tool, just like a fishing rod.
Yeah, yeah,
I like being on the boats. Don't get me wrong,
sure.
because I can catch blue marlin. Uh,
Right.
but man, if I could catch them off the rocks,
That'd
absolutely.
be
Put a
cool
little
too.
beach
Yeah.
chair, pull up a bait.
Nowadays with kites and drones, no reason why you can't get a bait out into deep enough water.
Mm, give me a chance. I don't know if I could sit there long enough,
Yeah,
but it would be kind of cool.
if
I'm
you
not
could
gonna
pull it
lie.
off, it would be a very noteworthy thing, definitely.
I um I, I've seen stories of guys catching bluefins off the rocks in different locations because they're such shallow feeders.
Uh-huh.
Well, you've been up to Nova Scotia. You're familiar with it.
Yep,
You
yep.
fished with Anthony a few times.
Yeah, I've done 4 or 5 trips up there. Yeah.
Have you ever
Uh,
gone on the north side, on the North Shore? I know Anthony always fishes on the South Shore.
no, all 5 of my trips have been on the south end by Wedgeport.
Okay.
Back where yeah, back that's because of Anthony's contacts there, and they have boats and families and things going on in the south end. So I've never been to the PEI end or the
The
that
northern
whole
side. Yeah.
yeah, the whole northern fishery, and it's far enough apart where they're very different. It's a
Totally different.
4 hour drive to get from one to the other or something like that. three
I'm not
hours.
I know it's
It's a
it's an hour and a half to 2 hours from Halifax.
Okay, and it's two and a half to get to the airport at Halifax from the
Okay.
south. So
Okay.
yeah,
Well, next time you're up there, if you want to come spend a couple of days,
okay. I would like to see it. I know
uh,
it's
come
just different enough to.
come hang out with me and Flash. We
Okay,
we have a 5 bedroom house, and
yeah.
the reason we get such a big one is so our friends can come and hang out with us. And it's
Hmm.
totally different. Where we fish is where the world record was caught.
Okay,
So, and it
they get
seemed
big up there, that's for sure.
they get real big.
Yeah,
They get
I'm
real
thinking.
big.
I'm thinking I've heard Anthony tell me that they may not get as big down in the southern end. I'm sure there's exceptions to all that, but they're not known for their grandeurs like every other fish. It's more to the 4 to 800 pounders, I guess. But
Yeah,
and
I think our average year in and year out is right around 750.
okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's
What
it's
a
it's
what
a
a
not
beautiful fishery though. That country is so nice. The coast is amazing there. All that nooks and crannies and some of the beautiful historic places there is amazing.
That's what I love about it. I go up there to hang out with all my Canadian buddies, man.
Right? Yeah, great people. Just watermen from for generations. The family, that little bit of experience I have there, just amazing. I know the father and his two young boys who are now, middle-aged men now with families of their own, and they have their own lobster slash commercial boats. So it's become quite the family thing that Anthony introduced me to, and yeah, it's a special time of year. I love the fall fishery up there.
I,
And back to where we started this conversation, fishing an 80-foot pile of rocks. The shallow water tuna fishing. They come in there wherever the bait is. It's
exactly.
a it's a sardine fishery in the south where we see acres. We see the boats out at night with their
They're
circling
nets.
nets, some kind of circle
Oh,
nets. Yeah,
it's a purse seine.
a purse seine. Okay.
No, no, you
Uh,
said a circling
oh,
net.
well, maybe it's a gill net. They
Okay.
throw it out. Yeah, I'm not sure if they're circling to make a purse out of it or if it's
Okay.
circling just to,
See, because
to
on the north
catch the
side
school.
it's herring
Okay.
and which looks just like a heart sardine. Um,
Yes, these are Atlantic herring, I believe. Yeah.
that's it. And they get them
Yeah.
for the roe.
Yes. And even to the point where we caught a bunch of fresh ones or got a box of fresh ones from the local net boat. And one of the sons, the fisherman there, showed me the difference in the quality or the maturity of the roe in a couple different herring samples and how this one is a better value. It's more mature, whether it's days or weeks or whatever. And this roe next to it is much less value because it's not developed or it's more developed or something. But yeah, it's interesting to see that. But all those big giant tuna up in 60 to 80 feet of water, wherever the bait is, and it's a shallow, flat bottom, relatively 60, 80 feet of water, and which is fun because it makes your fight different. They're not going to spool
Oh,
you and break
totally
you off on the
different.
on the edge like Bimini or a Cat Key, but to see those big lobster boats have to maneuver around to see that tuna scooting along the rock piles there, it's
Oh my,
amazing.
it's so cool. We have one spot we fish that it's very, very shallow. And I would say average is about between 32 and 34 foot.
Wow.
The herring go in there because there's this, it's not eelgrass. I'm saying eelgrass because that's what we have in Florida, but some kind of this kelp-like thing where their roe will stick to it. So
Oh,
they go
yes.
in there to spawn. So the small tunas won't go in that shallow. They don't feel comfortable,
Really?
but the big ones will.
I would have thought it was the other way around. Wow.
It's only the big ones go in there. So when we fish around that spot, that
Get ready.
specific island, yeah, that you don't see any little ones. You don't see 800 pounders.
I mean, that's like shallow enough to be pushing head wakes and things.
I have a video from my GoPro from the hard top looking back when this tuna ran. It looked like a bull red on the flats running.
Yes,
It was
but
so cool, but it was
same
massive.
thing, but larger.
It looked like one of those Los Angeles class nuclear submarines where the
Wow, that
water's
must.
just, it was so cool. It's one
Oh,
of my
that's
favorite videos that I have, and it did it twice.
oh man, that's
I got
something
it on
special there.
camera twice. It was so cool. We caught one this year. We hooked it in 32 foot, and when we finally got the release, we were in 17 foot of water.
Wow.
It was so, you want to know the coolest thing was we fish 20-foot leaders. The fluorocarbon we fish is 20 foot. So when they start doing those pinwheels, it can't do the pinwheels up and down.
Mm.
So it's literally like on the surface, it goes out, comes back, goes out, comes back. It was the
Right.
coolest thing.
Yeah,
Uh,
the shallow water makes every animal act differently, or the depth. It's amazing how the depth will affect their tendencies and their habits.
to fight. Yeah, and
Yeah.
we got the whole thing on video. It was just one of them really cool fights, and I wanted to get some good pictures because fishing was slow. That was the only fish we caught that day, but it was a stud. It was a really, really big one.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
just to get to catch one and see those fish and the historical angle of a bluefin tuna, how they've been a target of countries for centuries, and how they're almost like a commodity or a currency almost. They have such value. And but yeah, what a neat animal. Can't get enough tuna fish.
You
I'd love to
you
see
you made a trip to Skiji Fish, the old Skiji Fish Market, didn't you?
it. I did. I
Ah,
love my Japan trips. Yes, we went. My wife and I went to Japan twice. We went once, obviously, and then loved it so much. We 3 years later went back. Um, and after going the first time, we did a tour, one of those tours you get up at 3:30 in the morning and you meet your tour guide at the 7-Eleven down the street at 4:15 a.m. so that you can be there because the tuna market in Tokyo, I'm sure like many tuna markets, opens early. They get the ball rolling at their first auctions like 5 a.m. Um, so yeah, we did that, and I was such an eye opener as a photographer and as a waterman, as a fisherman, and as someone who loves everything fish. That first trip to the market was like, oh my God, I want to do this as much as possible again and again and again. So I think I convinced my wife to let me go one other morning that trip. But then our second trip to Japan years later, we based it around the Tsukiji market. We found the Conrad Hotel was a walking distance to the market. So I went like 4 mornings in a row as a rogue renegade photographer with a camera,
they let you
walking the
in.
grounds. They did. I love to say I've never been kicked out of a place so politely. Oh, they're so generous and so kind. I'm so sorry, no cameras here. So they schooled me on where to go and where I couldn't go. But I even enjoyed getting kicked out of the place. It was so
They are
nice.
so polite.
But yeah, the Skiji Market, which, as you know, is no longer Skiji Market, they moved it 5 miles away or a few miles off the waterfront because it was right. The historical Skiji Market was right on the river there, so that the boats could drop their catch right off there. I think that changed enough to where it's mostly trucked in now that didn't have to be on the waterfront. So they moved a few miles inland and I'm sure cleaned it up. I have not been to the new one yet, but they cleaned it up to be more tourist friendly and more because the old one was not built for tourism. And so, sadly, a bunch of my American and all tourist friends, screwed it up because they standing in the wrong spot or not adhering to common courtesy and getting in the way of the fishmongers' ability to do their morning routine. And once they start complaining about the tourism, they immediately want to put us behind a plexiglass. They started with, I'm sure, velvet ropes, and that didn't work. So that the new market was built with tourism in mind to where they were quarantined areas for tourism only, and then the market could still happen trouble free. But yeah, my time at Skiji was amazing. I've got thousands of photos. I still look. In fact, just 5 days ago, Marlin Magazine wrote me a note asking for Japan photos.
I,
And I
I
thought of you. I thought, I hope Fly wrote an article about Japan. But
well, I'm working on one, but
okay.
Lisa. Oh my God, I can't remember or I can't pronounce her last name. Lisa Kisigawa. She wrote one about tuna fishing in Hokkaido,
Oh,
and
has it been
uh,
published yet? Because this might be the story.
it has not been published, but this is the story that they wanted
Okay.
because they reached out to me to ask me if I had any bluefin photos, which I do, but it's not from me being there, it's from my friends.
Uh-huh.
Because right now is their season for bluefins. So it's January, February, March, and April.
Okay.
And one of my friends, Kazanobu, he he just caught one, probably about 400 pounds.
Oh, nice.
Really, really nice fish. And you want to talk about uh, pride of
Yeah.
instead of going to the market and getting some oh my gosh, I can't believe I just forgot the Japanese name is uh, oh my God, I'm so
Yeah.
embarrassed.
But
Um, but
Japanese
bluefin,
language doesn't. Yeah.
yeah. Well, there's certain words like I can, for some stupid reason, I can remember billfish, which is kajiki.
Uh-huh.
I can remember dorado, which is shida.
Uh-huh.
But for some reason, I'm forgetting bluefin. Anyway, it's not important at the moment, but the amount of bluefin that they were eating like every night. Him and I, he doesn't speak very much English, but him and I, we talk at least once a week.
Oh, nice.
We have there's a local Japanese app that you can put a translator in there. So
Oh,
we
okay.
just talk back and forth. We do a lot of different things together. They've got a new project they're trying to I don't want to say push to the government, but they're trying to pitch it to the government. And he's asked me for some ideas. And
Hmm.
every time there's some kind of fishery thing, I get a phone. Hey, would you mind speaking with so and so? I'm like, here, give him my number, give him my email address. How's their English?
Sure.
Between me being on the board of the Billfish Foundation and um, with the fishery boards that I'm on with ICAD and all that other stuff, they respect my opinion, and
Hmm. Oh, that's nice.
I emphasize heavily on the opinion.
Sure.
It's not a fact. It's not a listen, this is my opinion, what I see, how we do things, so
Right.
on
Well,
and so forth.
you provide a valuable insight into the world that they want to hear from, this side of the pond, and I'm sure they appreciate that.
Maguru.
Maguro.
Maguru.
Love Maguro.
Yeah.
And is he fishing? Hokkaido's up to the north, is that correct?
Correct.
And that's
Hokkaido's
where some of the best tuna fish come from.
correct from up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just found
So,
out Hokkaido has a great um, deer population and um, what's that called? Bear population. It's gotten so
oh,
bad that hunting is not encouraged because you can't have guns in Japan. But it's gotten to the fact that some people have been attacked by bears, so now they're going
yeah.
to have to
Have to
um,
address
a manage
separating them or
a management
reducing.
issue.
Yeah. I have seen something about more Japanese encounters, shall we say. I guess it's the growth of, civilization moving out into the bear's habitat and the bears wandering into people's habitat. So there's always going to be some
I've
mix and match
I
there.
have eaten bear
Have you?
in Japan. Yeah, I forget what town we were in. We went up by the ski slopes, but it was during the summertime. And we went to this local restaurant. They used to have a regular storefront, but after COVID, this husband and wife in their late 60s, they moved it into their home,
Oh, neat.
and it was much, much smaller.
Yeah.
And they just gave us a plethora of different foods, and one of it was bear, one of it was sautéed honeybees.
Come on.
My
Little
gosh.
honeybees.
Little old
Really?
honeybees with toothpicks and the whole nine
Wow.
yards. It was
Boy,
great.
the Japanese culture and what little I know of it, but yeah, their ability to specialize in something, whether it be a restaurant that serves, onions or a restaurant that serves eel or very small is not a problem. And that's so common in their world. Have 5 seats, 10 seats or less, because they do such a specialization. And it's just fascinating to see all that.
Absolutely love it because it still gives you that old fashioned business feel.
Hmm.
You haven't been commercialized. It's a mom and dad cooking.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of the best meals we had were going to little mom and pop places with the husband and wife running the counter with 6 bar stools in it and just some of the best ramen and other fun things. But yeah. And I think
Oof.
so. I think with the recent Marla Magazine inquiry of Japan photos, all I heard from the editor, Jack, was of a female, something about she's writing a story. So I believe it's the same girl.
Yeah,
And
it's
and I didn't
Lisa.
have much. Yeah, I didn't have much to contribute because I had not gone tuna fishing in Japan. But I think
I
they
sent
selected
I
a
sent
Skiji market photo or two. So.
I sent him 60 pictures.
Oh, good. Okay.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
I didn't know how desperate he was, but
So
that,
him and I, we've talked about doing one about game fishing as a whole,
hmm.
not just bluefin tuna, but bill fishing, blue marlin fishing, tuna fishing, throughout the throughout the entire country because I've gone there for so many different. It's not just during blue marlin season. I've gone there for in the winter time. I've gone in the spring. I,
Uh-huh.
I try to go 2, 3 times a year.
Wow, that is the most magical country. And so much water, so many islands, so much coastline.
Oh,
It's so nautical for someone who loves the ocean and fishing and marine organisms in general. That is a whole nother world over there.
it's the only place that I've heard of not one but two 2,000 pound blue marlins
Oh yeah.
in Okinawa. Yeah,
Wow.
caught by commercial guys in some way, shape, or
Wow.
form. I'm not sure if it was a longliner or,
Right.
but it was
But
definitely commercial guys.
as
One,
big as that species can ever get has been found there.
yeah, at least what I've heard of.
Yeah.
At least what I've heard of. They've one was in like 1985 and the other one was like '04, '05.
Wow. Yeah,
And
that's
and this is not from I don't want to say that's not from Japanese fishermen. The stories absolutely probably came from Japanese fishermen, but this is my conversations with Jody Whitworth, Tiny Walcott, and Eric Leach when they were there on the French Look.
okay. So they had some immersion
They had some
information.
immersion and it's
Yeah.
so funny because, I have great relationships with all those guys, but they know that I go there quite often. So they're always when we talk, we always end up talking, hey, when was the last time you went to Okinawa? When was the last time? So there's always
That's
something.
funny. That's funny. My last conversation with Tiny uh, was about meeting him in a Japanese restaurant for dinner.
Really?
So yeah, we similarly talk about anything Japanese is always a popular topic.
He has a special, actually, not just him. Any fisherman that I've come across that has been to Japan has a special spot in their heart for Japan.
Oh my God. Yeah, I feel like I was born in the wrong country. It was
I
an amazing spot.
agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Agree. I
But
love
yeah,
going there. They treat you so
walking
well.
walking that market and seeing I think if I remember, it's like at the time, Skiji was 44 acres of stuff, of fish being sold or dealt or bartered or something. Walking to the live eel auction, which is in a
That is
separate building,
cool.
and they're bidding on bags of eels or tanks of eels. And in we did the frozen tuna auction, which is obviously giant frozen plugs at minus 100 degrees or whatever it is. And then an hour later is the fresh tuna auction with the fresh bluefin right off the airplanes or the boat. Um, and there's a whole separate building just full of uni. The sea urchin eggs is a whole another global commerce thing that I can't begin to know the ins and outs of. But yeah, they dedicated their whole warehouse, Costco-sized warehouse, to uni auctioning and uni sales. And there's a whole vegetable mart. And the little markets that line the outer market
My
are
favorite part.
that's the best part of it. I remember after attending the frozen tuna auction and the fresh tuna auction and every auction I could find and every place at seven now it's 7:30 in the morning and I've already been already shot 1,000 pictures and my wife and I go to have a cold beer and some fresh sashimi tuna sashimi at one of the outer market stalls
And it's
and it's
seven
not
o'clock in the
even
morning.
8 in the morning, and we're having to
Yeah.
just that was the funnest thing ever. But yeah, all that goes with it, the support system, the support neighborhoods, just for that one marketplace, just an amazing part
That's
of the
my
world.
favorite part. When
Yeah.
I'm in Tokyo, that's where I go for breakfast.
Oh, what fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
I'm
place.
trying to remember what if it was last year or the year before. My flight got me in at 4:30 in the morning.
Mm.
And the hotel, I always stay at the same hotel in Roppongi. So I called him up and I made my reservation for the night before, but I'm like, hey, listen, I'm paying for this night, but I'm not going to get in until like 5 o'clock in the morning. Do I need to check in before I take off? Or no, 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 you're good. Just, we got you written down here. So I get in and customs and immigration at 4:30 in the morning is empty.
Oh,
There's nobody
nice.
there. And
Yeah.
I try not to travel with check luggage anymore. I just go with
Really.
oh my God, it's the nicest thing in the world.
That's a dream of mine. I've never pulled
Well,
it off.
when you're carrying as many cameras as you are, that's one thing.
Yeah,
It's tough.
I have too much
Uh,
gear, but
but
one day I'll travel light.
what I started noticing was the fact that and I'm sure when you can recognize this if you didn't have all the camera equipment. With laundry, you have the same three pairs of fishing shorts, same three pairs of fishing shirts. You have two dress shorts, two dress shirts, and maybe you have
Mhm.
one real nice. Other than that, you got a shave kit and that's it. So
Yeah.
I the first couple of times I went to Japan, I would come with monster suitcases. But part of tradition is giving everybody
A
gifts.
gift. Yeah.
So
If you
what
want to be culturally
appropriate?
a good person, yeah, you should carry a bunch of
Yeah.
stuff to give
Well,
away.
now
Yeah.
now I have enough friends and contacts over there. I FedEx my presents over there.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I
Anything to
just
reduce the weight you're carrying. Sure.
Yeah, because a lot of times, especially for me, when I'm going to Japan, Japan's just like maybe one blip on what could be like a 3 or 4 week journey.
Okay.
And I don't want to carry all this extra stuff. Like
Yeah.
last year when I fished the JIP, I fished the JIBT the last 5 years in a row. And I left my house and I went to Colombia. Then from Colombia, I went to Tokyo. From Tokyo, I went to Washington State. From Washington State, I went to Croatia, and then I came home.
Wow. That's,
So,
you learn
uh,
how to pack properly with that kind of schedule.
oh my gosh, and with the carry-on, it's the greatest thing in the world. Especially when you're dealing with customs and immigration. Well, when you come here from customs
Yeah.
and immigration, you can't finish customs until you get your luggage.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So,
I got my I got my carry-on. That's all I need.
yeah. Yeah. As a travel photographer, the amount of gear I'm carrying is prohibits traveling light is never my wheelhouse. But I can appreciate the of all the gear when I put it in front of me, only this much of it is personal effects, like it's the clothes that I need. The rest of it is cables and wires and gear and stuff. But yeah, one day traveling that way it would be nice.
Nah, well, listen, when the cameras get about this big, maybe
Yeah,
you can do that. Let's
when there's a chip in my head.
I want to briefly, and we don't have to go in depth, but I when you first started taking photos, and this was well before I started playing in the content world, um, you had 35 millimeter film.
Sure. I spent the first 11 years of my photo passion shooting slide film. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about that because one of the greatest things I've seen you do it, I've seen Michelle do it, I've done it, where you get this unbelievable fish jumping and you're taking all these sequential shots, and the best thing you can do is look right at your camera and like, no, that one's no good, that one's no good. Oh, ooh, look at that. Okay, I'm gonna
Yeah.
save these six to look on the big computer.
Hmm.
Back then, you didn't have that.
No, I would buy rolls and rolls of slide film, a case of slide film, and back then 36 exposures per roll was the bigger rolls you could get in the modern DSLR at the time. Um, and it was shoot and hope you got it right. But as soon as that roll came out, or even if I'd shot 20 exposures on that roll and we're down and tight, I would often change that roll out and waste 16 exposures. Because what if the fish performs at the boat side and I need 20 pictures, or I have the opportunity to shoot 20 or 30 pictures? So often I was wasting half a roll of film just because what if the fish gave me the opportunity to shoot a lot of pictures? So and
God.
then all exposed rolls, whether they were full 36 or not, they would go in a Ziploc bag and go in the refrigerator. Someone told me that was better storage, but every dark of the moon, I would fly home and rush off to the lab to get my slide film developed, and run back and then spend more hours than I care to admit on a light table with a loop, looking at my captures and trying to take notes so that next month, the next moon, I would correct the mistakes I was making, whether they were technical or whatever I could improve on by looking at my recent captures. Nowadays, like you said, you take a picture and three, two, one, you look, oh, you can make your adjustments and corrections now for the next second. So the industry has come a long way. But yeah, spent 10 or 12, 10 or 11 years of slide film capturing and filing it. I'm looking over at my filing cabinet, which still has a few thousand slides in it, but no one wants them anymore. No, none of my clients have a scanner available to even use them anymore because it was a bigger process to go from slide to the printed page. Used to involve at the time a giant drum scanner, and so they were still kind of digitizing things, but not to the ease which we're doing now. But yeah, it was a. I have a lot of good moments on slide film that will never see the light of day because it's not a thing anymore.
Oh, that's to be honest, that's a shame.
I know it is. I still, even with my phone, try to, I don't know, hold the slide up to the light or something to try to get a very poor copy of it just to show something to someone from some of the, if it's a real special moment or someone who's passed away or something that, has a great value to it. So,
Speaking of passed away, one of my greatest possessions I have in my life is the book you created for Jim.
oh yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah, I
Yeah, well, I had the pleasure of joining you and the boys on the reel tight a number of times.
we spent a
Uh,
lot of time hanging out and fishing.
yeah. And that reminds me back to the point when I did lose my fingertip in St. Thomas. I stayed, I think for the surgeon wanted to see me in a couple days. I went right to surgery that afternoon. And of course, now I'm digressing, but I said, Doc, pack me up. I'm going to catch the 3 o'clock American flight to Miami. There's a hand surgeon in Miami I know can help me. He's like, absolutely, kid. This is like 10 in the morning. I'm in St. Thomas Hospital. Absolutely, kid, whatever you want. But you realize that no hand surgeon in the world can do anything other than round off your stump. We can't reconnect a fingertip we don't have, and even so, it was a tear. It's anyway. So he's like, oh, so anyway, so he did the surgery that day, and I spent 3 or 4 days on island waiting for the follow-up call visit to him. And then Jim was kind enough to say, hey, if you want to ride home, I'm going. The moon's over. I'm going back. If you want to fly home, and I thought that was a much more attractive offer than running through a busy American Airlines terminal with a glove, baseball glove on my hand to cover up a
Love.
amputation. So I got to fly with Jim on a fancy aircraft, and that was nice, but nice of him. But yeah, but back to where we started. Yes, I fished with Jim and you guys. I don't know, 10 or 20 or 30 days out of St. Thomas, and had some great photos of that, and had so many fun memories of those days with Jim.
Oh my God, we had so much fun. A couple of weeks ago, I had Charlie on, Charlie Levine,
Oh yeah.
and we were talking about how often we had fished together. And I says, "Oh my God, we had so much fun. Scotty hanging out with all of us and your patchouli oil."
Oh, sure. Yeah, that was a
I,
memorable.
I still love telling that story to people. That was so funny. But we got so many cool pictures, and when you put that book together, um, I don't know if you remember the timing,
I
but
think it was near the end of Jim's life, is it not?
we gave it to him for Christmas, the Christmas right before he passed. He
Okay,
passed
yeah.
he passed in June of '08, and we gave it to him in December.
Okay. I do
Mm.
remember it being someone like yourself or someone or Joe or someone or Eric, someone let me know how well received it was because
Oh, I
it was
I get every he was in the hospital there towards the end, beforehand, in December.
mhm.
And he got out of the hospital. I want to say it was either the 23rd or 24th, but by that time everybody had gone off to their Christmas, whatever they're doing with their family. Um, I I've never been married, so I was just hanging out at the boat, and I was getting ready to go home, and Mama Grace had said, "Oh, we're gonna go pick up Jim today." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna wait to give him this gift," because we all wanted to give it to him at the same time, but he didn't come home in time.
Mhm.
So I was lucky enough to see him and present him with the book along with well, you spent enough time around us. You knew that we were a bunch of jokesters and storytellers.
Oh
We
yeah.
uh, we put together like the list of the 100 best Little Johnny jokes,
Oh
and
sheesh.
we printed it out and we
I
gave
can
it to him.
I remember hearing a couple of them in the cockpit on many a summer day.
Oh my God. We'd come up with some of the
Uh,
greatest Little Johnny
it's
jokes.
nice that you put it all on paper because so many of those, get forgotten or yeah.
Yeah, well, it was just something that what we really wanted to do was give him the book while he was in the hospital so he feels better.
Uh-huh.
And he got home and we gave it to him. And
Yeah.
for me, it was a very special moment. And luckily, I got to share it with everybody and got to share it with you. And,
Yeah.
or one of the boys told you the story. I don't know, but I called them all
Yeah.
up on my ride home and, he was
Yeah.
so happy about it.
That's one of those powers of the photography and how it can, it can change a man's life or make someone make a
Yeah.
lot of people feel different and feel good about it. So yeah.
Yeah, and I used a couple of those photos in his celebration of life.
Okay.
Yeah, or I say I. It might have been Mama Grace. I just remember
Sure.
one of my favorite photos was me and him playing that you took the picture of was me and him playing paper rock scissors.
Yes, I was thinking it was cards or something. Yeah.
No, it was we were playing
Yeah.
everything on that. Nothing happened on that boat without some kind of competition.
Right. Oh, that was
Everything happened with some kind of competition,
there
even
was
like
always a side bet or a challenge or oh,
yeah, we play cards all day long. I remember, do you remember Hugo Silva? He was I forget who he worked with on A Doc. Super nice young man. Uh
did he work on the rental boats?
I think you're right. Yeah.
Rental skiffs?
He may have, but he also every once in a while worked the deck for either Marlon Prince or Prowler Bill back in the day. I can't remember, but he every
Okay.
once in a while he worked, or maybe he worked for Billy. But I remember he asked us to go fishing. And Jim, yeah, you want to ride along? Ride along. We're leaving at whatever 4:30. Just make sure you're on the dock at 4:30 and you can come. So he
Right.
went fishing with us and whatever, we fished. I don't whatever the day was. We were 3 for 5 or 4 for 6, whatever the day was. We caught some fish. And he didn't tell me this, but somebody on the dock told me that everybody's like, so what do they do different? What do they do different? He goes,
Yeah.
those motherfuckers play cards all day long. They don't do anything different. They go fishing. Two people are playing cards, and the other two people are responsible for looking at the spread.
Right. Yeah, it's to see that as an outsider, you think you guys must all be, fighter pilots or something all day long, but you're just having a good old time and
Yeah.
Jim liked to be distracted and carry on and all
And
his antics and
and if he had a friend that'd come along, great. But if not, we'd carry on with them. It was funny because when we played cards, he made it not per hand, but it was $50 to everybody that won. So you had to reach 200 points.
hmm.
And towards the end, he used to tease everybody. He goes, "Man, it used to cost me like 50, maybe $100 a moon. Now these motherfuckers, this costs me a couple of grand every moon." Because
You guys got better?
we got so good at playing gin with him.
Uh-huh.
Uh, so it was always um, you play winner. So you had to go in a circle.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, we just played cards.
You get you get better at emptying his wallet every
Yeah,
moon.
he didn't care. He didn't
Yeah.
care. He absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I imagine he loved everything about that boating experience, whether he was catching them or not. But what
And
a
it's
neat
it,
individual.
it was so funny that you mentioned that he gave you for a ride. He gave you a ride on his plane because it was an ongoing joke with every man. It's so nice that your boss gave me a ride. I go, listen, he's not giving you a ride to be nice. He's giving you a ride because he wants to pick your brain on how you blew marlin fish.
Yeah.
He's got you
Yeah.
trapped in a tube for 3 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure there was more than one question on a similar, like to Hugo's question. How do you do it on the Revenge? What do you guys do differently? He was as competitive as they get.
Oh my gosh. He was so competitive, and he was, when you see Jim Lambert walking down the dock, he's always dressed to the nines and looks very, very sharp. But once we're fishing, he puts on a pair of board shorts and a real tight t-shirt, and
Hmm.
um,
One of the boys.
he's just one of the boys. So especially early on, before the cancer had gotten to him,
Sure.
he was always very, later on, he was always very skeptical about being around a lot of people, not to pick up a cold or something.
Yeah.
So, and that was even including us. If we came back from time off and we had the sniffles, go get a room.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, get off the
Yeah,
boat.
that's important. Yeah.
Very important.
Mm.
So, um, but I remember early on, he'd jump off the boat at the end of the day. As we're shamming the boat and dinner's being cooked, oh, you guys caught three today. How many did you see? What did he come up on? What'd you catch him on? What's your hook set?
Yeah.
He'd go up and down the dock, and it was like the Spanish Inquisition for everybody,
Yeah,
you
little
know?
tidbits can be learned, and if you apply your wisdom to it and what you learn
Ye-
from the other guy, if it
Yeah,
equates to one more bite tomorrow, that's a big thing.
especially for him.
Yeah.
And you say one more bite for and he did it in business too, where it's like, listen, I'm always working to get 1% better.
Mm,
1% better. I don't need leaps and bounds. I want 1% better.
sure.
And little by little, you're going after that 1% and that 1%
Sure.
and then before you know it, instead of catching 94 in a year, you're catching 110.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It
You
can add
know,
up. Yeah.
it adds up when you start looking at 300 bites in a season,
Mhm.
an extra 1%,
Yeah,
that's
that's doing
that's
something.
that's three extra fish.
Yeah, yeah, that was the wonderful part of or I guess it still is at any marina, but at sunset and washdown time, someone has to represent the crew, or even after you're done with your chores, walk around and pick some brains and find out how far up around the corner you went, or did you stay in the saddle all day, or what, the little tidbits of information to go a long way towards shaping what you're going to do the next
Hey,
day.
it was Gay Bob. They called it on Gay Bob. The old pearl head super plunger.
Right?
You
Oh,
know,
the Joe Lee or something.
yeah, Joe Yee super plunger, pearl head super
Yes,
plunger.
that was the best design lure in the history of blue marlin fishing.
It may have been the greatest teaser in the world. It's a great
Yeah,
lure, but teaser,
yeah,
and I'm going to give all this credit to Euro Captain Mike Lemon. He's
right.
like, there's a difference between a lure and a teaser. And to
Oh my
me,
God, yeah.
and to me, a teaser is just a lure with no hook in it. He goes,
Without hooks,
no, no, no.
yeah, that's what most people think. But no,
But
there's
he's like, no, no, no. That super plunger, it's plunging. And when you take
yeah,
a couple of cranks, the first thing it does, it gets up on the surface and it starts skipping across the top. It never
yeah.
digs. And
And
I'm like,
you don't want that with hooks in it doing that. So different. Yeah,
no. Yeah, when
yeah.
you take a
When you're pitch baiting, 100 days a year, or whatever, however much your crew does it, you learn little things like that on how lures that may look, there might be lures that look better 80% of the time, but they'll get eaten off because you can't get it away from the fish. You don't, as a teaser guy, you don't mind if a lure looks like crap for a few seconds and skips because it's saving your ass and it's accomplishing the goal of getting the fish closer to the hook. So
exactly.
there's a lot of little nuances that go into pitching the right head. Never a scooped out chugger head for a teaser.
No.
Not for retrieval. You want something slanted that skips and hops and bops around. And that way it puts it in the mate's hand on how to make that lure still look good as much the retrieve as you can make it without tumbling over itself and leaving the scene. But in the right hands, the teaser guy can still make that lure that pulls easy and gets away, but still look good 70% of the time, enough to bring the fish into the pitch guy's realm.
Yeah. Or even if you have to drop it back an extra 2 or 3 foot
Yeah,
to
yeah.
grab
Oh,
it.
there was a lot of, it's not just, teasing is not just one speed all the way in. Oh, it's finesse, it's slow, it's fast, it's free spool, it's stopping, it's pausing, it's waiting, it's the whole, to keep that going. And St. Thomas was a great fishery for as a training ground for that
Oh
to
my God, it was one of the best.
yeah.
It
Oh,
was
I
one of the
love that.
best. They're so aggressive, and if you fuck it up, which it happens, you
Yeah.
don't have to worry about. Wait another 20 minutes,
Yeah.
especially if it's 6 o'clock in the saddle. Just wait another
Right.
10 minutes,
Depends what's
man.
coming. Or that same fish might pop up on another lure if
Oh
you
my
muffed them
God.
on one side. Yeah.
On the art, well, you fished with us. You know how competitive it was to get to the teaser rod. Well,
Hmm.
if you miss the
Oh.
teaser rod, half the fun was going to the outside.
And
And
waiting for your opportunity. Yes.
in case the fish fades off, he's gonna always show up on the outside, you
Yep. And
know.
he puts it in a gentle turn, and now you're next in line.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you how many times I'd sit there and just like an old kingfisherman, I just
Yep.
bounce that thing back and forth just enough to make it go. It's
Hmm.
like, ooh, I'm like,
Steal them,
yes.
steal them away from the fish guy, the teaser guy. Nothing is no better feeling in the world.
Oh my gosh. And then my favorite, well, you weren't wiring fish, but we had to rotate between three of us. So
Oh, wow.
if you can tease the fish and wire the fish, you're
Ah.
double
Oh, so
dipping.
when you were up on the gloves, even if you were the teaser guy for that fish, you still got to honor that
Yeah,
spot.
oh,
Oh,
100%.
wow. Nice.
100%. Man, it was such a who was I talking to? Oh, I was talking to Josh Goodson. He runs the Miss Angela in Cape Verde. He's got two young deckhands, like 21 and 23 years old. So I asked him, I go, what's the give and take on the rotation of wire? Oh, they do this. I go, do they hound each other? And he goes, oh my God, it's brutal. Ah, you got a 200 pounder. And I'm
Yeah.
like, listen, we had the Joker's Wild, which was the white marlin, because we had to take turns on wiring quote unquote marlin. It had nothing
Didn't
to,
matter who.
it didn't matter if it was a blue or a white. So if you got especially late in the season in October where there's a lot of white marlins, or early on, like April moon, May moon. Sometimes we'd have more white marlin bites than blue marlin bites.
Uh-huh.
And if you wired a white marlin, you lost your turn.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was the
Uh,
Joker. That was the Joker's
the
Wild.
Joker's wild. Yeah, that's
It's the,
fun.
it's the stupid games we play, man.
Yeah, well, when you've got 10 hours in the water every day, that's you come up with fun things to
Well,
keep it entertaining.
listen, you guys fish 10 hours. Jim would never fish only 10, only maybe in October. Uh, the worst moon of all, and I say worse, the longest days, and it was hard on the body, and luckily I did it when I was younger, was June because the days are so long. I was waking up 2:45 in the morning
Because you guys
and
are leaving at 4-ish.
4:30 ish. So you wake up
Yeah.
at 2:45, and especially early on, in my, you know, early or it was my late 20s, but when he was still very, very healthy. Um, we would fish until dark. We always fished until dark, but we'd eat dinner when we come in. Well, then you eat dinner, then you got to clean up, and then before you know it, you're not getting to bed until 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And you got to wake up
Even
at
if
2,
you're
4.
even if you're hustling, 10 o'clock is a lofty goal.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
2:45 that was tough.
Yeah. That fishing industry is tough on the body. It's
It
not
was it
for
was tough on the body. Now later on, as you know, as his health started progressing, he couldn't eat late. So I would eat dinner with him offshore.
okay.
Me and him
You'd
would
have
sit inside and have dinner because he had to eat
right.
dinner at like 6 so that it was
Okay.
completely digested by 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock,
Yep.
and he can go to sleep.
I see. And you're still
So
trolling at that point, so you might interrupted by a bite, hopefully.
hopefully, listen, his joke was, or our joke was, if you could put your hands up to the sky and still see your digits,
All right.
there's enough light.
That's enough for the blue marlin to pick out a bait on the
Yeah,
surface. Wow.
that was
That was the barometer, huh?
that was our barometer.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah, that was
I was lucky enough to see all the digits.
yeah. I say it's time to go in.
I can't see my middle finger. No, it was, I'm
Yeah,
very, very blessed that I got to have that time with Jim, that I got to have
mhm.
that time with all of us,
Yeah,
that we all had
yeah.
a
That
lot of fun together.
that St. Thomas summer was such a cool rendezvous spot for people around the world to come in, and summer after summer would meet there. Some or all the moons, you'd get to see people from your
Everywhere.
past. Yeah,
There
and
was
that was
there was a time early on, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. Before, and listen, I'm not knocking the certified observer program, not at all. But there was a time early on because what's his name? Jimmy Loveland was so adamant about having proper qualified observers, and he's the one that created the certified observer program. But that was where everybody that was looking for work, captains and mates, would come down and
yeah.
become observers because now you can go on
The
four different
exposure was
boats.
yeah.
Yeah,
Sure. You fish on four different boats, but every evening you get to talk to 40 others. So
exactly.
your networking job search just hit the gravy train there. It was always because all the same people in St. Thomas were all had just come from the Yucatan or were just going to Venezuela or were just
Yeah.
going around the world. So you were getting a little chance to advertise in a very ideal group of people.
It was social media before there was social media.
Yeah, exactly. It was hands, eye contact
Yeah. Hey,
like
what's
like
going
no
on?
other.
What are you up to now? Ah, I'm looking for work. Oh, blam. I know I just talked to so and so. Or, hey, listen, after the season, I'm getting off this boat to go work for blam for somebody else.
Yeah, yeah.
And
It wasn't just a job search for that week or that moon. It
yeah,
was it was always for the bigger time frame than that.
yeah, it was always it was neat to catch up with everybody back in the day,
Yeah.
back when there was, 40 or 50 boats in the Boy Scout.
Yeah, Jimmy had some years there where the marina slips at capacity in the 40s.
Yeah.
No more room in the inn for anybody to participate because it was so popular.
I mean, it was a who's who.
Yeah.
Always,
Yeah, that was cool. Jimmy ran a fun tournament when he had it going on. I
yeah,
could see
when it
his need for observers, qualified observers, was key to that because
was huge.
yeah, it being a release tournament, it's quick and down and dirty, and if you don't have time to be messing around with them, and you need someone who knows their stuff to make it run smoothly.
Yeah, it was very, very important, and hence why he helped create the certified observer program.
Yeah, and that was always fun. I always remember some of the observers coming on fishing on our boat, and at the end of the day, they'd step off the boat on the finger pier, and like any industry, the observers would gather together. How was your day on this boat? How was your day on the Real Tide? How was your day on the Revenge? So they're comparing notes in their own little social group. And I remember so often our observers would jump up on the dock and say, "I can't believe it. We caught four blue marlin today, and there was like four words spoken." Sam was quiet to begin with, so that inherently made, and Mike's a quiet person, so inherently we ran a very quiet operation to the point where an average blue marlin release, there was just the only thing you ever heard from observers watching this was "let short." And then it was silent until the release. We didn't need to say much else. Well-oiled team, having done it for so many years and stuff. But I remember them being just in awe of how quiet you can catch a fish, because so often people who see one or two a year can get a little excited about it, and it's human nature. We all do it, and all did it at a time. But when it became like a machine-like efficiency, when every fish was like the last bite of the biggest Super Bowl tournament of your life, you really learn to shut your mouth and open your eyes and watch and learn and listen, and yelling how pretty his jump was is not helping the cause, but it was fun to see
Yeah.
the observers. Yeah.
That was, and it's so funny because people used to tell that as much as we joked and laughed and talked, when a fish came up,
Hmm.
it was serious. There was no screaming, there was no yelling. There was, there's a
Yeah.
fish. if I was the cockpit guy and Jim was on the pitch there with me, can you see him? It would be just a conversation like that. Hey, do you see him? He's about 5 feet behind me. Yeah, 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 okay. Here he comes. He's coming. All right, just a
Mm.
nice, easy conversation. And Jim used to tease us. He goes, you know how many of my friends say, you guys don't talk, it's so quiet. And Jim never understood because we were always very talkative. We didn't yell. It was a conversation.
Yeah.
It doesn't make anything happen faster or better if you're yelling.
By saying it louder, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was one moon. He came down. He goes, guys, I'm not going to be fishing. I'm just riding along. I'm not feeling good. So Uncle Harry's gonna catch all the fish. But we got to do all the pitching.
Oh,
And
nice.
so there was like I don't know, after like 3 days, Jim, because well, you were there. We always debriefed after every bite. Hey, what did you see? I saw this. What did you see? Well, no, I thought he inside
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
And, we always compared notes. Where can we improve? And we still have that same conversation. He goes, now I understand why everybody says we're so quiet. We talk, but we're talking amongst ourselves back by the engines. So if you're on the
Uh-huh.
mezzanine, you don't hear anything.
You don't see that. Yeah. You miss that whole audio
You
track.
you miss that whole conversation and some of the greatest conversations. You know, oh
Yeah.
man, he almost really got me on that one. You better speed your shit up. This these
Yeah.
little, wise assery
Yeah.
conversations back and forth that you don't realize that people are having.
Yeah. Yeah. As an observer, once you step back from the scene and get to, watch it all, you get to appreciate the little things that go on that you don't normally notice when you're either winding or holding the pitch rod or something. But yeah, it's neat to
Or
see that.
yeah, that's for me, that was half the fun. That's, you know, that those little special conversations, when I late at night, I'm working on the computer and I start thinking about fishing or I think about Jim. Inevitably, I end up thinking about him once a day about something.
Hmm.
And every once in a while, it's one of those little Lambertisms that pop in,
A
you
little
know.
exchange, a couple of words exchanged, but it's
Yeah,
very memorable.
very memorable. He left a very big impression in my life.
Yeah.
He's a big influence in the industry, very similar to Sam Jennings.
Hmm.
You
I
know,
remember
Sam,
I remember talking to Sam, speaking of quiet conversations or very brief conversations, one of the ones with Sam, again, on the debriefing thing after an event would happen, whether we caught him or whiffed him or whatever, but we try to improve, and Mike would, hey Sam, maybe on the next one, try this, that, and the other. And I remember saying, Sam, you mind if I give you some advice? In relation to a fish we just missed or something. And mind if I give you some advice? Absolutely not, as long as you don't mind that I don't listen to it. So just don't expect me to, he just didn't want me to have any high hopes of him suddenly taking my advice and doing it, but he'll listen to it,
yeah,
take it
and
all in.
listen, as
Yeah.
long as you take it in, people give me advice all the time, doesn't mean I'm going to listen to it,
Yeah.
But I like to hear other people, and sometimes things take 2 weeks for me to agree with it. I don't like it when you first tell me,
Yeah.
but the more I
Yeah.
think about it, yeah,
Not everything is a home run when you hear it the first time. You have to
and,
chew it around a bit.
yeah, especially if it comes from somebody that I respect,
Hmm.
and I value their opinion. Okay, I don't like it, but I'm going to think
But
about it.
it has value. Should consider it. Yeah.
And then once your ego drops down to nothing, it's like, yeah, that's a good fucking idea. I'll do it.
Yeah, it actually would make it better. It would make things work better. I should try it. Yeah.
I remember fishing with you guys a couple times, and even having lunch with Sam a couple times after you guys sold the boat. He would come up and have lunch with me and Mike, um, whatever day of the week, every once in a while. He's a funny dude.
Yeah, he
Sam
is
is
a
one of the, he has a very unique sense of humor, and he was very, very funny.
Yeah. He was a very quiet man, but it wasn't for lack of the wheels turning. He was
Yeah, he was always
yeah.
going. Speaking
Yeah.
of, I got a phone call this 4th of July from John Jennings.
Oh, you did? Wow.
Yeah, just out of nowhere. My phone, 4th of July, it's blowing up. Everybody's calling all day long.
Sure.
And out of nowhere, he's like, "Yeah, I want to call a fish. We just boated a fish." I'm like, "Oh shit, I don't have anybody hooked up who's calling me to tell me they've got a hooked up fish. Now I got to
Right.
double verify." And I'm like, "Yeah, go ahead." Yeah, he goes, "We're estimating this fish close to 1,000 pounds,
Oh
the,
shit.
the revenge." And I'm like, "I ain't got no fucking revenge in this tournament." And I'm like, "John, hey, Fly, what's going on?"
Oh, what a great way to break the ice.
Oh my God, it was so good. And John was not unlike his dad. John was very outgoing, very talkative. You just
Hmm.
didn't see him often because
Yeah.
uh you guys were out like us, you guys were out fishing.
Yeah, right. And their time spent at the dock was minimal, getting off the boat, back to the house or condo or wherever they stayed. Yeah.
Yeah. Very,
Yeah,
very simple.
that was a great fishery. I love to see more of it, and I hope it's still going on for those who stay there.
Yeah, I love it, and I miss those great days. I fished with Jamie Bunn the other day. He goes, "Do you miss working on the boats?" I go, "I don't miss working on the boats. I missed the camaraderie."
Hmm.
And what I do miss, and I'm very, very adamant about it, is the new young kids coming up. I don't know as many young kids in the industry. When I was on the Real Tight, you had all these great young, young Brian, Cecil, Matt that was on the Chots. You had all these great young deckhands that were 19, 20 years old, and
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know them now.
yeah.
I
They're the current hotshot captains now, and the whole new
exactly.
crop has come in for the cockpit.
And I wish I could spend some more time on the docks, just to get to know them,
Yeah,
just to
yeah. I
get
see
to know
that
them.
in my travels now. I've been fortunate enough to work with Skip Smith and his wife Deborah for 3 or 4 years in a row now. I go shoot with Deborah the Abaco tournament series that he has, the
Oh, okay.
shootout, the custom shootout, and the custom versus production shootout. And a very similar feeling when I walk the docks, taking pictures of all the boats that are on the docks. I see a couple familiar faces, but for the most part, it's a whole new crop of young, avid people like we were both, and not too many moons ago. But yeah, it's neat to spend a little bit of time with some of them. But there's so many of them I'd never met and won't get a chance to spend much time with.
Yeah, that's the only part that I'm regretting about the stuff that I'm doing is that I don't get to see the next crop. I'm not paying attention. Not that I don't get a chance to see them, is I don't get a chance to pay attention and watch them as they
Yeah,
first come in and ask you, "Hey man, what's your favorite crimp to use, and why do you use this crimp?" And then as they progress through the ranks.
yeah, yeah. That's just because you're different point in life, and you have different focus and different places to be.
Yeah. So with
Yeah.
that being said, um, let everybody know if they want to find your pictures or if they want to hire you for something. What's the best way to get a hold of you?
I guess the most current way is, Instagram is my only social media outlet these days. Anything Aqua Paparazzi, um, whether it's Aqua Paparazzi on Instagram or Scott at Aqua Paparazzi email or aquapaparazzi.com website, that works also. But yeah, I'm still traveling with a camera in hand. I think I did 7 countries last year. I've just mixed up my forte, or my focus now is not so much blue water like it was for the first 20 years. Now I'm doing a little bit of blue water shooting, but mostly shallow water. I'm working with a TV show called Sportsman's Adventures, and we shoot an annual shoot is 12 shows. So once a month we'll be shooting somewhere. Most of it, or a fair amount of that, is tarpon, redfish, snook, bonefish. So a lot more shallow water stuff is in my repertoire now, and but I also have a couple clients who love bird hunting, so I'm finding myself standing in bird blinds a couple times a year in Canada or Wyoming or some other place that I've never been, and still going to. This will be my 10th year in Alaska, shooting people having recreating and having a family a corporate event and out in the outback. But yeah, I'm always looking for more clients, more days to shoot, anything to push the button and take some pictures. And right here, based out of South Florida. So
I,
if anybody needs any help, and I keep maintaining a stock file or a stock archive, 256,000 images in my stock file now. That I license those to anybody, obviously the magazines or anybody else who needs imagery for any of their advertising or promotion needs. But yeah, trying to stay busy and still trying to see the world.
Beautiful. Well, I want to say thank you. I've enjoyed catching up with you when I reached out to you. Like I said, I like doing it because I like to catch up with my friends.
Yeah, it's been great. When I saw your message on my screen, I thought, oh, here I haven't talked to Fly in months. Let's see what Steve's got up to.
Yeah.
So
Well, it
yeah,
was funny because I had just seen your pictures of Venezuela. I'm really enjoying the new Venezuela
yeah.
pictures that are going out.
With Venezuela in the news recently, I'm not. My Instagram account is clean and no politics. It's just with Venezuela in everybody's news. If you look around, I thought, hey, I've got a few thousand Venezuela images, having fished there as a deckhand for 2 seasons, and then gone back as a photographer another 4 seasons. I've got a few thousand Venezuela photos that if unless someone calls me, they'll never see the light of day. So I thought, here's a perfect opportunity to see what the response will get. And it's some of the best responded imagery that I've ever posted in, the last 5 years of Instagram. The most amount of likes or responses or comments. So I'm having a blast with it, digging through the old archives and
All right.
of just crazy old doc stuff. I wish I'd done so much more photography now. At the time, I was trying to just get a magazine cover every single day. That was my focus. So I tended to shoot less of the dock and everything's offshore. But now, looking back, I wish I'd done a lot more doc stuff and personality stuff because it's so wonderful to see that, like you said, catch up with old friends, and
Yeah.
it's a blast posting that stuff.
Yeah, you popped as soon as I saw it, I'm like, oh, I'm open all morning. It's hard when you give only somebody an hour notice.
Yeah,
I wasn't expecting you to say, "Hey, I'm open this morning." I was
right.
just like, let me get you on the schedule here over the next couple of weeks."
No, like you said, let's do it. Don't put it off. Let's get it done.
Yeah, listen, I'm not government work. Why put off tomorrow
Right.
what I can do today?
Yeah, you never
Uh,
know what tomorrow brings. If you have
yeah,
one of those,
let's get it on there. Let's talk.
yeah.
Um, and it's really hard for me because I like to pick up the phone and call my friends.
Hmm.
But I got somebody coming on Friday and I've texted him a couple times and he's busy. He's doing his thing. So finally I had to call him and 20 minutes into the conversation, I'm like, stop. You've already agreed. Let's just
Right.
let's talk on Friday.
This this is what we need to record. Yeah, this
Yeah,
all
these
this
are all great
conversation. Yeah,
conversations about fishing and the fishing
yeah.
industry and satellite tagging and all that other stuff. So,
Sure, sure. Well,
uh,
I'm really grateful you called me, and I appreciate everything you're doing. And
you-
it's fun to watch your arc through this wonderful world that we live in. So
I,
yeah,
I
I'm
just want
happy.
to share. I want to share our world with the world.
Yeah, it's
You know, I had somebody call me up, uh, an old friend back in my early 20s. Hey, what motivates you? And I'm like, man, what a weird question, but I'll answer it. I go, really? What motivates me is trying to connect all my friends from this industry to everybody else who's not in it.
uh-huh. And
That's,
you can spend a lifetime doing that.
well, I don't have much of a lifetime left. I've used a lot of it up.
Well, you
Yeah.
better get busy. You got a
Oh,
few more.
that's why I try to talk to as many people as I possibly can and record it so I can
Sure, sure. Well,
get to it.
keep it up.
Uh,
I'm happy to follow along.
You hold right there. Let me say goodbye to everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And again, thank you to Scotty. And we will check everybody out later.